Welcome in, Big Blue Nation, to another episode of the Cats Talk podcast. I'm your host, Cameron Johnston, joined as always by my co-host, Jacob Boyers. Jake, first off, wasn't pretty in the slightest. This might be one of the worst games of basketball I have seen in quite some time. But like you said, a win is a win. Cats beat South Carolina on the road 72-63. And the way this team has been playing as of late, you just needed to leave Columbia with a win. And they did that.
Yep, I'm firmly back in the boat from a few weeks ago where I told you I don't care how you win, just win. And, they won. I mean, you're right, just an absolutely horrific game to watch, especially the first half, 28-22 or whatever at halftime. Like, that's, that's a JV score. But, I didn't care. I told you I think my favorite part of the game was the fact that it was over in under 2 hours. I don't remember the last time we played a game that's been done in under 2 hours. I mean, it was like 7:10 to 8:57, I think, is when it finished. So, that was the best part. They weren't calling a bunch of fouls. We were able to kind of breeze through it. And, you mentioned it, ugly, but a win's a win. Cats are back in the win column and go win Saturday, and now we're talking about a streak.
Talking about a winning streak, and that's something we need, man. After that 3-game losing streak, and the vibes around this program were definitely not an all-time low, especially because of how the season started. But it felt like we were starting to get back to there.
Pretty low.
If you would have found a way to lose this game, I think this probably would have been that rock bottom again. It was so ugly. Like I told you, I was like, I'd rather talk about the Auburn game again. At least that had some more storylines. But here we are, after a loss, trying to figure out like what to take away from this game. And I'm just gonna start right into it because this is where I'm still frustrated, Jake, and I'm gonna continue to be frustrated about it because it's not gonna change. And I know it's not going to, but it still frustrates me. Jelavic. A lot of good in there, a lot of not so good. Has 11 points, shooting 50% from the field. With 14 minutes in the second half, he checks out, and he's not to check in again for the rest of the game. What do you need the guy to do? I get there were 2 turnovers in there that looked completely awful. The 3-point shot wasn't falling like you'd hope it would. The guy was still producing. He had 3 offensive rebounds in that early spell as well. What does this guy got to do to get playing time? And I say all this knowing that Mohamed Diabate did have a great stretch there. Jake, you also know I want those 2 to play together at some point as well.
Yeah, I think that's the key. Like for him to get some more time is that you got to trust him and Mo to be on the floor together. However you want to say which one's playing the 5 and which one's playing the 4, but like it can't just be 100% if Mo's in the game. Jelavic can't be. And Mo I think was him and Aberdeen were obviously the 2 best players, and I'm perfectly fine with Mo playing essentially that entire second half because it felt like he was making play after play, whether it was big rebounds or a couple big and ones. But I'm with you. I mean, I thought Jelavic was fine, and again, I mean, did Jelavic have some mistakes and some not so great moments? Yes, but like I'm back to kind of the same conversation we've had before. Like if it's Jelavic and his upside with the mistakes versus what I know I'm going to get from Brandon Garrison on a given night, I'm taking the risk of those Jelavic mistakes, and I'm rolling with it, especially I don't think like Jelavic had to play a ton of minutes here in the second half, but it would have been nice in those moments where you were taking Malachi out to have Yelly in and instead of BG.
Jake, can you give me like a reasonable explanation as to why you think Mark Pope looks at Mohamed Diabate and Jelavic and says like I can never play them together? Because I still cannot think of a single time where I've seen them on the court together this entire season.
It's just I think it might be as something as simple as he just views them both as 4s, and I don't know. I don't really know. I don't have a good answer for you because, like we've talked about, like Diabate, while he's undersized, I think especially in this game, like it's not like South Carolina. It's got a big 7-footer that's gonna kill you. I mean, Mo was as big as anybody on the floor last night. So I if he wasn't going to do it last night, then I think you can pretty much pack it up and imagine that it's just not going to happen for the year. Because
Ruining my dreams here, man. You're cutting.
But do you not agree? Like last night would have been the
Oh,
type
I
of
do.
team you could
That's
have done it with.
I
Like
do, and that's why I let off with it. It's
not like
frustrating
you're asking Mo
because
to play the 5 against Florida, right? Like this was
yeah,
a team without a
and
real traditional center.
it's frustrating because it seems like we've thrown a lot of things at the wall to see if they stick.
Yeah.
And I don't know why this isn't one of those things that you see if it can work. Because you get through a stretch with Muhammad and you're like, man, the defense and the rebounding, it's all there. Why not add some offense to that instead of
Yep.
having him run with Brandon Garrison? Or he doesn't even run much with Malachi Moreno, and Moreno's starting to see his minutes cut back a little bit. Pope alluded to something after the game. I'm not sure if you caught that or not. He didn't necessarily say it was an injury, but he kind of just said he's like he's dealing with and then like paused for 3 seconds, and then was like, yeah, he's dealing with it. And I'm like, what does that mean? What is he dealing with? I'm not sure. You're the coach. Can you tell me? Is this a like John Calipari? We haven't seen him. I haven't seen him. I'm not sure where he's at. I'd love to see the rotation of the bigs get cut to 3. And I think we're almost to the point of the like 2012 national championship team where you have a 7-man rotation and that's it. And we're going to talk a little bit about those guys a little bit later. But let's start off with Denzel because he was your offense in the first half, and the stretches that he's taken and the strides he's taken throughout this year. It seems like week in and week out, you and I come in here and keep praising what he's doing and how much he's affecting this team. 19 points, 4 or 6 from 3. A couple of those were some bombs too. 5 assists to no turnovers. He's the team's plus minus leader now. He's been great the entire month of, January and February. He's really put this team on his back, and you can start to find ways in which you get these bigs, the 4s or the 5s, to really start to help those guards. I think that's when you can start to see maybe us taking, even if it's just a little stretch in the SEC tournament, to make you feel a little bit of confidence.
Yeah, I would argue this was maybe Denzel's best game from the aspect of, he was the offense and he was your only offense, and he kind of took it upon himself and really didn't take, bad shots like we've seen at times where he's felt like he's had to be the offense. Like he still played within everything and then just execute it. And it was a game where he had to, right? Like Otega's obviously not playing well, and I think a lot of that is contributed to South Carolina's game plan. I think they had a really good game plan to make sure Otega doesn't beat them. And for me to see Denzel really step into the role of being kind of the dominant guard, I thought was huge. And it feels like a lot of the other games where he's played well, Otega's still going and getting his 20, or Colin or Malachi, we're talking about them as kind of being the best players on the floor for stretches. Like this game, it was pretty much Denzel the entire time, and like you mentioned, especially there in the first half where they couldn't get anything going.
Yeah, does it feel like Denzel's almost taking that, and they're different players, but taking on like that Kobe Brea role towards the end of the season that he did last year, where he's forcing more offense and he's just able to create a little bit more for himself than he was last year. Like the growth you saw between both players throughout the season, being a playmaker, I think have shown leaps and bounds. And without him scoring like he did, especially in that first half and facilitating for others, you lose on the road against South Carolina.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely, I think, taken the leap as a playmaker. I mean, let's not forget, like early in the year, he had no problem taking the shots. It was just,
Yeah.
he was taking a lot of bad ones. So I think just him getting more and more comfortable with, one, the playmaking, having the ball in his hands, but two, just letting the game come to him in a much more natural way than we saw, really through what, probably mid-January when he really kind of hit his stride here. So, yeah, I think he's taking leaps, I guess you could say similar to Kobe from a year ago, but I think it's a little different as, confidence was never really the lacking thing or like a number of shots. So I've been obviously really impressed with Denzel. I feel like we've said it for, quite some time now, coming back to this, and the improvements he's made from the beginning of the year to now is unbelievable. And yeah, like I said, I think this was probably his best game, just because it was a game you had to have him do that.
And speaking to that confidence that you alluded to, I don't know if I've ever changed more on a player throughout a season.
I know I
I
have.
I'm at the point now where, and you might disagree because you might have a little bit more confidence in Otega. I have no more confidence on anybody in this team that they're going to, get 14 points, 4 assists, and just like do what the team needs of them game in and game out than I do in Denzel Aberdeen right now.
Yeah, I mean, and that's absurd to say. I mean, what was it? I guess it was probably after Missouri. Me and you said like you can't play, like pretty much him or Chandler had to go to the bench and stay there, and the other one you could probably maybe find 5-ish minutes. That's obviously when we still thought we had low, but like we were saying like those two were practically borderline unplayable, and I lean towards Denzel more in that role than Colin. I even remember, Cam, there was a time where you told me you would take Jasper being the primary like
There
backup
was,
outside
yeah.
of Low, and like with his upside, and it's like to get from that point to where we are now, where depending on who you ask, he's probably your one or two most confident players in, night out, I think is pretty remarkable.
And you want to talk about a take aging like spoiled milk. I mean, that
I'm
was
gonna have to
I
go back
if
and find that one and clip it and get it up.
if you wouldn't have reminded me of that one, there's a good chance I would have just completely forgot it. So thank you for ruining my Wednesday on a bad take that I had. But I mean, let's get into the Otega conversation, because obviously coming back off of two terrific performances against Georgia and Auburn, comes in here and outside of Jasper and Trent, the worst player on the floor for the Cats. What do you say?
I mean, offensively, certainly. I think, I don't know how you felt about it. I thought he played pretty well on the defensive side of the ball. I'm not going to say, it was like a unworldly performance from him, but he guarded Michi Johnson for the majority of the game. I think that was the one guy we both talked about. If Kentucky was going to lose, it was going to be because Michi just got into like some crazy rhythm and went off for 20, 25, 30 points or something, and we can't stop him. So he never really kind of let him get going. So I I think no doubt about it. Offensively, he was pretty poor, but um, I think, like I mentioned earlier, I think that was a lot credited to South Carolina. I think they've looked at it and they probably said like, he scored 23 and 27 or whatever the exact numbers equaled out to over his last two. Kentucky still lost. Imagine what we can do if we can take him out of the game. And it was, as soon as he went to drive, double teams were there. Now, you could probably argue he didn't do a very good job facilitating out of those a lot of times.
Never has.
So, but I thought they did a good job with it. But if that continues to happen and you get these type of performances from Denzel, and who knows, maybe next time you can get Colin to play a little better, then I think you can kind of survive those games. And um, yeah, I really think it was more so to do with South Carolina's game plan. But don't get me wrong, I'm not going to defend Otega a ton here. I don't think it was a good game from him.
Yeah, I mean, first off, I do want to say he did get credited with 5 steals. For some reason, that is blanking my memory. I remember a couple. I don't remember 5. I don't know if that rings a bell to you. Do you remember
Yeah,
5
yeah. I
steals?
mean,
I remember like 2 or 3.
yeah, I remember a few, and I know he definitely went for some that maybe he shouldn't have once he started to get
Yeah,
some. I think
with 14 seconds left in the game to try
that was
and
that was a pretty bad one.
let's
Oh,
talk
hell
about
no. I don't know
let's
what he's
talk
doing
about
there.
that. Let's talk about that. The part in which I've had the biggest like struggle getting behind Otega away being our best player or like our most important player has been the fact that I don't want to say a selfish player, but there's definitely a aspect to his game where it's, hey,
There's tendencies.
I'm gonna make sure I get mine, and that whether that's to the benefit of the team or to the detriment, he doesn't seem to care. So if you want to label him selfish, you can. He showed that a lot just in the last 30 seconds of this game.
Yeah.
Went up to try and get that dunk towards the end of the game and then got stuffed by the rim. Jake, I thought that was you for a second. I thought that was you, but then I was like, oh, this isn't like the Fisher Price one outside.
I would have finished.
Yeah, on the Fisher Price goal, you might have gotten up enough for that one.
A 4-year-old hates to see me coming on their Fisher Price rim.
Just slamming it right on him. But and then after that, he gets the foul call with 14 seconds. You see he's obviously trying to get a nice like pick 6 there to get his double-digit streak extended. I think it would have been, 31 games if he would have gotten that one.
It ended at 30.
And then, Jake, I don't even know if you saw it. At the end of the game, there's 2 seconds left. He pulls from half court to try and just give it a shot. And it's just like, dude, we're playing South Carolina. Yeah. If you couldn't get your 10 points before this, that's on you, not the rest of the team. Like, you were 3 of 13 in this game. Like, that's fully on you. And this is, in a game like this, we can take it like jokingly and, smile about it. But these are the like real deal issues I do have with him as being like our star player and our leader. They're just more warning signs each and every time like I see one of these. And obviously we only have 3 games left, so I'm not going to see too many of these. But if he's going 3 of 13 and scoring 8 points, especially against Vandy, A&M, or Florida, we're not winning any of the 3.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a pretty well given. The other thing is he is what he is, right? Like, and I think we've talked about that at length now. I mean, he's a senior. He's been here for now finishing his second full season here as the starter and kind of the guy. Like, the good that Otega brings can be obviously really, really good. We saw that at Auburn, Arkansas, a handful of other games this year. But, I mean, there's those little, like I said, tendencies, and there's just those little moments where, to your point, you're like, are you kidding me, Otega? But, yeah, I think for whatever reason, he had that, double-digit point streak in his head, and I think that was pretty clear there in the last minute or 40 seconds, whatever it was, when he was sitting there with 8 points. I mean, was I a little annoyed and frustrated by it? Yeah, maybe a little bit, but at the end of the day, man, you're up 9 against South Carolina, pretty much killing the clock out. I mean, even with that foul, it's not like you're going to put them in a position where maybe they can come back if it's, you're up 5 and you do it, and then they're just a steal or miss free throw away from potentially tying the game. I think that's a very different conversation. But while I'm with you, I don't love it. I don't think Pope loved it. Like, at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world to me.
All right, I'm done with the Otega talk. Let's move on.
You want to slander somebody? Because I think we're about ready.
Yeah, I'm going after you. I'm going after you today. I don't know why. You're first on the list today. Now let's continue to talk through the starters, because I think you saw, again, to our point, outside of the start that they had, the start was abysmal, and then the start to the second half was abysmal. So the plus minus looks a little janky for some of those starters, because it was, 9-2 to start the game, and then they went on an immediate 7-0 run to start the second half. So some of those starters have janky plus minuses in there. We've already kind of talked about what Jelavic did. Colin Chandler. This is kind of like the Colin Chandler you had early season. Not too much to make of it. Obviously hit another timely 3, and Him or Denzel, Jake? Who would you rather have taking that timely three right now? Because I want to say Colin, but like I said, I have confidence in Denzel to do it right now too.
Yeah, I mean, Colin has proven in practically every win that we have that he's going to make a key play down the stretch. We've obviously gone through the list, so I'm not going to do it again. But yeah, I mean, if he misses that shot, like, do you still win? Maybe, but like to hit it and kind of put the game away essentially and go up 7 there, like it's just. I'm with you that like there's some confidence that Denzel's going to hit it, but like Colin, it feels like every single time has hit it
Yeah.
and will continue to hit it. As far as like his overall game, I didn't. There was nothing that like stood out to me as like super bad. It was back to maybe he wasn't as aggressive as like we had
Yes.
talked about, and like the only thing for me, and I don't think this is happening, but I'm going to say it anyway, is like I hope that the second half of Auburn didn't really like kill his confidence in any way, because it didn't look like he was looking to shoot. But then again, with kind of the game on the line, he had the confidence to pull that 4 feet behind the 3 point
Yeah.
line. So, that's probably just a stupid take on my part or something to say, but like I that's the only thing I hope that isn't an issue. But again, he still had the confidence to take the three to put the game away there from 3 feet behind the line. So yeah, that's probably most likely not an issue.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely still worth talking about, especially with the differences in Colin Chandler that you get, whether he has that confidence or not. Obviously, you saw it last year. We've talked about it. The difference he had going down the stretch of those tournament runs.
Yep.
And even this season started off with red hot confidence and was hitting a lot of threes, and then went through a stretch where the team was playing bad, and so was he. And then now he's back to having that confidence. In a game like this, though, where you're struggling to find points, I can't have Colin Chandler only shooting the ball 6 times, and
Yeah.
especially only 4 of those being from behind the arc. I mean, they South Carolina, and I'll give them credit because while at certain times, like they look like one of the worst teams I've ever watched play basketball, they definitely did come out with a game plan saying Otega's not beating us and Colin's not beating us from behind the 3 point line. Like those were
Yep.
their two main priorities coming into this game. And to give them credit, I mean, obviously we talked about Otega had one of the worst games of the season. Colin only got up 4 threes, made 2 of them, and one of them killed him at the end.
Yeah. And I do like South Carolina's coach. I mean, he's obviously had a lot of success against Kentucky since being there, back to the Cal days. Like, so I do think, to your
They were
point,
what, 3 of their last 4 in Columbia Life Arena, I believe, against the Cats.
yeah, and what he got Cal in Rupp the one year. I think he's a solid coach. He's probably having more of the issue of getting players versus kind of the preparation and
Well, I mean,
game.
somebody we were going to talk about a little later was committed there, so you see the level of talent that they're going after.
So, but yeah, I think South Carolina obviously had a solid game plan, and to your point, that meant not letting Otega drive and kill you around the rim, and don't let Colin get a bunch of threes. That's what I think kind of frustrated, to change the subject here a little bit, me so much in the first half. It's like that ball should have been into Malachi a lot more than we probably saw. And I'm not gonna
Mm-hmm.
maybe it is to the point that Pope mentioned that he's dealing with something, but like I think when you look at it on paper, like this could have been a game where Malachi could have had 20 plus, and he probably could have had 15. It felt like in that first half.
Yeah, and for him to only get 4 shots as well when you're struggling for offense. And it looked like early in the game they made an emphasis to getting him the ball down low. I think he missed his first 2 shots, and really after that, just there was no effort to get him the ball back on the post. But all credit to Malachi. I mean, this is a game that he should have dominated on the rebounds, and this team dominated on the rebounds
Yep.
as a whole anyway, 48-28. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, we didn't do that to like Bellarmine. We
No.
don't do that to teams like that. Like that was crazy. And Malachi was a huge part of that. 5 offensive rebounds, 11 in total. And you talk about consistency. This might be Mr. Consistency. I mean, it feels like each game he's going to come out and give you like 8 and 7 is something you can almost count him down for game in and game out. And I
all
hope
4 of his free throws.
He's starting to hit them now too. I mean, it might be one of the ugliest shots I've ever seen in my life. But right now they're going in, so I don't necessarily care too much. Jake, there's some ugly shots around the league. But
there's
if they
some
go
ugly
in
shots on this team. Between
okay, well, I didn't want to go there.
can we just Malachi's free throws, Otega's jump shot, and Mo Diabate's jump shot, like
I mean, for being honest, Jelavic doesn't have the prettiest jump shot either. It kind of comes a little bit to the left side of his face, and
yeah.
It's not a team. I mean, Jasper's shot's pretty ugly too, and we'll get to Jasper a little bit later. Yeah, I mean, now that you bring it up, this might be one of the worst, just like form shooting teams I think we've seen. Yeah, nothing about this team is appeasing to watch, including just watching them shoot the basketball.
I mean, really, outside of maybe Denzel and Colin, I would say.
I mean, Trent's got a nice shot, but it ain't falling, so nobody really cares at that point. Just speaking to Malachi, like if this injury thing is something that is of relevance and of, bigger stature than maybe Pope is making it out, because we've seen his minutes be cut each of the past couple games. Played 26 in this one, so he's actually out there for a good amount of time. Is this something like you look at maybe like trying to buy him some extra time, or is he just hitting that freshman wall? Like,
I wouldn't.
If you had asked me, that's what I would say. The freshman wall is just kind of where he's hitting. The physicality of the SEC is finally starting to get to him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's taken a toll on him. I mean, the guy was playing at Great Crossing a year ago, right? Like, you're not going up against this type of physicality night in and night out. And, you might still play 30-something games and then AAU where you're playing tournaments all day. But in those games, he's the biggest person on the floor and, the strongest, and he's not getting pushed around. So I would say it's probably freshman fatigue. Maybe the ankle was slightly tweaked from where he rolled it, because you see that a lot where a guy rolls his ankle, he's got enough momentum, or is able to kind of play through that game, and then it swells up the next day. I mean, it was just 2 days ago or 3 days ago that happened at Auburn. But I mean, those are like the only two things that kind of logically make sense to me. But like in my brain, again, like back to what we've talked about multiple times, like even if Malachi is dealing with something small, I'm still taking what he gives you over the alternative. And so I don't really think you can go try to bide minutes right now. Like, yeah, you're probably in the tournament, but like you still could use a couple wins here down the stretch to get you off that, 9 line that you're sitting at, or 8 line, wherever you're going to be, get you back to maybe a 7 seed or something. Like this is the time of year, man. Like vast majority of players are kind of dealing with something right now. And whether it's, freshman fatigue or just a little tweak in something, like everybody's kind of dealing with it. And I don't really think you can try at this point of the season to be like, we're going to try to cut him down to 20 minutes a game, because again, that means probably near 20 minutes a game for Brandon Garrison, and that's not something I'm willing to sign up for.
So what you're saying is Jaden Quaintance can finally come back and play now.
Oh, well, yeah, we found a spot for him.
Yeah, we found
that has been the issue. It's nothing else. It's we didn't know where to fit him on the floor.
Yeah, these were just DNPs the whole time, Jake. He wasn't injured. Brandon Garrison's bigger and better talent. I mean, that's where we're at. I mean, let's talk about this bench.
Maybe so.
Because outside of Mohamed Diabate, who, we've kind of already given him his flowers.
I'm almost putting him back in, like, in my mind. He's a starter. Like,
he plays starter minutes. Him and Jelavic are basically just the starting 4.
But like
Jelavic, it seems, starts the game, and Mo finishes the game. Is what they're going with.
Mo's going to be in the game down the stretch.
Yeah, and now granted, I don't know if down the stretch should be the final 14 minutes. I don't know if that's a stretch. That's called just a half of basketball. So maybe we can get Jelavic out there a little bit more in the second half. But Mo, 12 points, got up 10 shots. He's still not afraid to get those shots up, especially around the rim.
Dude, he shot that 3 in the first half from the corner, and it's
Surprisingly enough, Jake, it wasn't the worst 3 of the game.
Yeah, but like, and what did Nate Oates do to trick us into thinking he was a 40%? Like, I know none of us thought that would like 100% transfer over, but like
46.7 3-point shooter coming in.
Does Nate Oates just have like black magic he does like to get guys to make shots before they go in? Like, I don't.
Dude, he's got to have something going on, because I'm not sure what Mo's shooting on the year, but I can only remember like one or two going in. And we're talking about
banked one early in the year.
Like, and we're talking about like, I think Amari was a better threat from 3 at this point. I mean, if you remember exactly, the fact that you have to let out that audible groan tells me everything I need to know. But Mo, 12 points, 5 of 10 shooting, 2 offensive rebounds, 4 in total. Got a nice block down the stretch and a steal. He was plus 16, so the team's plus-minus leader for this game. He's given you everything that you brought him in from Alabama to do. Unfortunately, it did take a little bit too long to get there, but he's been doing this now since what? The first Tennessee game, really?
Really, since LSU. Since I think I thought played pretty well in that LSU game where he quote unquote got benched, and that was the first time Jelavic started over him.
But I mean, he's been since that start where everybody was trying to figure out like who's who on this team, what's everybody's role. Since he's found his role in the role that he had at Alabama, this guy's blocking shots. He's getting physical rebounds. If there is contact around the rim, he's finishing. If there's not, he's probably not. For whatever reason, I'm not sure. Also, Jake, he had a great game, and I love what he's doing. Mo should not be trying to poster anybody. And that, when you're talking about like a low light for your career, getting stuffed at the rim and then the ball thrown off on you out of bounds while you're laying on the ground is probably one of the worst low lights you can have in your career. Especially after he had just went on, a 5-0 run by himself.
Yeah.
And that was how he ended it. I mean, that's kind of the classic Mo Diabate. He scores you 5 straight and then gets stuffed at the rim and the ball thrown out of bounds on him.
Yeah, that was a tough one. I just looked it up. He is 2 of 21 on the year from 3. So, like I said, I remember him banking one. I don't know where the other one came from, but I'm with you, man. He's another guy that, after that Missouri game, and he obviously got quote unquote benched before the LSU game, and we're going on, and I was as critical about him as anybody. Him and Aberdeen, right? And the thing with Mo, one, it's his effort that I think is a lot better, and he's giving you the kind of minutes that you expect. But like, 2, if you remember, man, there was so much yelling at his teammates, and like especially Malachi, and getting on Malachi, and it felt like him and even Denzel did it a lot. And like, that is one thing I think, regardless of how good this team is, like we're seeing them at least play somewhat consistent effort, and that like bickering is kind of gone out the window. But I give him a lot of credit, man, not just for the play, but to kind of embrace that role of coming off the bench and realizing, you're not.
It's not a fun role to have.
Yeah. And you're not really the guy, and to get over whatever was going on with all the teammates that you audibly, like, we saw. It's not like it's just rumors from behind the scenes. Like, everybody that was at the games would say Diabate's on the bench screaming at his teammates. The camera would pick him up yelling at Malachi on the floor. Like, to have all that gone and him take that quote, that benching and not essentially completely check out and say, F this. And since then, he has responded extremely well. And, I think that is one thing that, he deserves a lot of credit for. I think it also, you got to give Pope credit. Like, Jeff Goodman, I think, had kind of always said, like, one thing Pope's going to do is kind of relate to these players, and that's something I think a lot of Kentucky fans are kind of surprised by when we hear the way Pope talks and this and that. But like, you kind of see it in these moments, right? Like, we for a stretch we saw Brandon Garrison like get benched and then come out and respond well. Obviously there's bigger issues now, but you know the way Mo's responded, the way he's gotten Aberdeen to kind of be more team first and playmaking ability. I think you got to give a lot of credit to obviously those guys, but also Pope.
I completely agree with you there, and that was something I was going to allude to right after you had finished. And if you remember, you brought up Jeff Goodman early in the season when he was talking about the amount of players. He's talking about how you can't keep 12 to 13 guys happy.
Yep.
And while right now, I'm sure there's guys, Jasper Johnson, Trent Noah, who probably aren't happy with their defined role on this team, I think he's done a pretty good job on keeping the guys engaged and happy with the role that they're providing. Do some guys wish they were bigger? Does Jelavic wish he could play in the second half? I'm sure. Does BG wish he was still starting? Sure. But he has kept them all engaged, and that's something that, you just alluded to right there. All right, so we talked about the sixth man of this team, right? We are all cool with Mohamed Diabate being the sixth man. Outside of that, what have we got, dude? This bench is atrocious. They were very bad against South Carolina again. You were able to get by a little bit with them. You didn't see like a crazy run at any point. So honestly, I kind of take that as a win. Again, we're also talking about South Carolina, who some of our backups would probably be getting good minutes on their team at this moment. But combined, 1 of 11 from the field.
Would Trent be a starter there right now if he stayed committed?
No.
Year two? You don't?
No.
I think he can.
I mean, if I'm going to be completely honest, that more just says what I think about Trent than it does South Carolina.
Yeah.
And I think they're both bad. And I'll give Trent a little bit of
I'm going to
credit.
give him some credit, and I'm assuming it's going to be for what you're going to give him a little bit of.
Yeah. So, I mean, let's holistically look at the bench real quick before we dive into each player in particular. 4 points on 1 of 11 shooting in, 27 minutes.
Yeah.
You had 4 points on 1 of 11 shooting, 4 turnovers. It's like, I get it. Brandon Garrison is probably your 7th guy right now, and unfortunately, we're at the spot where you need him to play.
Yep.
You need a guard to play somewhere at some point in time. And with Trent not being able to handle the ball and Jasper showing he can't really handle the ball right now either, I don't know what the answer is. Like, I really don't. Yeah. This is something we probably maybe should have talked about a little more early in the season, is that there really was – we talked about it a little bit, but when you had Jalen,
we thought it would be Jasper.
Yeah, and I think we both expected more from Jasper than what's been going on. But with Jasper right now, man, it's an avalanche. Like, and you texted me during the game. You said you couldn't remember a player where if he touches the ball, something immediately goes bad.
Yep.
And that's exactly what's happening right now. Right now, he just cannot stop the avalanche. And I don't know if it's something that is going to change. I don't know if it's something like he's just got to see some shots fall, or he's got to get maybe one of these last 3 games we have, we're getting blown out, and it's just like, hey, Jasper, go find something and build on it. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know what to make of what Jasper's doing right now, because it seems like it doesn't seem like he's bringing nothing to this team, and he's virtually unplayable right now.
Yeah, it's really bad. And, I do agree with you. Either him or Trent, like, they have to play. Like, there's going to be moments where...
And you need it to be Jasper of the two is the bad thing.
Yeah. But, I mean, right now, with everything, and I agree with you that Trent has not been good, I'm still taking what Trent Noah gives you over what Jasper gives you, because Jasper is giving you absolutely nothing. I will give... It's not a big praise. Trent at least went in there and fought and grabbed rebounds, and, he obviously can't defend anybody. Neither can Jasper. He can't handle the ball. Neither can Jasper, and neither one of them can buy a bucket right now. So, like, I understand it's a lot of negatives, so I guess I throw my hands up and say, give me the guy that can go out there and find 5 rebounds and fight for some. With Jasper, man, it was.
I'll say something real quick before you get going.
Yeah.
I am still against you in the fact that I would still rather have Jasper out there than Trent. But the fact that it's this close for me right now, this late in the season, is the biggest problem that I have.
Yeah. I think the only person in the world that's confident in Jasper Johnson is Jasper Johnson. I mean, I texted you.
I don't think he is.
I don't know. He's still, a couple of those threes last night were still step back. I'm going to pull it. Like that first one.
I think that's just second nature for him at this point.
When I text you and I said it's a more confident Travis Perry. Like that's what he is. And he does that. And then he missed another 3. And then he drives the basketball, and with 2 guys standing in the post guarding BG, he decides to try to throw a bounce pass to Brandon Garrison. And I'm not a Brandon Garrison defender. I think it's been pretty clear.
This will be the first time I've ever heard you defend Brandon Garrison in your life.
Even I was like screaming at the announcer on the TV because the announcer's like, well, Garrison's got to fight for that ball. I'm like, there's 2 guys in front of him, and you threw him a bounce pass in the middle of the lane. Shaq's not getting to that ball. What are we doing here? So, it is, and I don't mean it to be rude, but like it truly is. When he has the ball, something bad's going to happen. It's either a turnover, a forced shot, just something not great's going to happen. And he's a guy that, especially if he's not going to go out there and score, like, he's unplayable. And it really is that way, unfortunately.
It sucks to say because, like, when I'm thinking of what this team needs, it's just a guard to spell some time in certain. And there early in the season, he was giving you a little bit of offense to where you can say, we're going to give up points, but he's going to give you some as well. Right now, there's no positives either way, which is unfortunate because I still don't think Trent helps that. Like, I don't think he helps coming in with the guards fatigue. Like, I don't. Like, he might be able to buy you a couple minutes in Collins' role. That's about it. He can't take Otega's role. He can't take Denzel's role.
Yep.
We're at the point now where if Jasper doesn't start to, like, shape up, at least find confidence in being able to get the ball past half court, which that's the same conversation we had about Travis Perry last year. And it just, like, I had that meme where the soldier's sitting there and he's just like that was me right there, just saying that I just got that right there.
But then the times that Travis did get it at past half court, he wasn't taking step back contested threes. So,
you're right. You're right.
It really is. And I know we've said it 100 times and I'll say it again. Like, you cannot afford to not play Denzel and Otega 38 minutes. If they pick up 2 fouls in the first half, you just have to cross your fingers, bite your lips, and hope that they don't go out there and pick up another one. And because, like, you really can't, like, there's no scenario. Foul trouble, anything, you better hope they don't get hurt or have to come out for anything because, like, they both have to be on the floor for essentially the entire game.
I think I'm in for 40 minutes of Denzel Aberdeen. I really am because you see when he goes off the court, we cannot start any offense. It makes Otega become the offense initiator, and that's just a role he's just not good in. And that's usually when you see the worst versions of Otega. You saw it a little bit against Florida as well when he had a tough game. I'm here for 40 minutes of Denzel Aberdeen. And could you imagine clipping that right there and showing me 2.5 months ago?
No, I would have thrown something at you.
It would have been crazy.
I would have said I'm cool with 40 minutes of him on the bench. Like,
you're not wrong. Let's talk about Trent as well, because guy hasn't made a field goal since January.
Yeah, it's
rough. He's got 2 points since the start of February. He's getting minutes now, so it's not really a minutes problem. It's not like he's getting a lot. I'm not saying
Those were
he's.
good looks too last night, man.
And dude,
Like
he clanked
all,
one off the side of the backboard.
I
Like
will say,
you talk about Mo's shot looking worse.
I don't know why South Carolina has the world's loudest rims, but
Dude,
every
they were very loud.
every miss, it sounded like the
That
worst
was the
brick.
very first thing my mom texted me. Clank, 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 and they were just amplified, man. I don't
I
know
mean,
what it was, but
it was when South Carolina shot too. So, but like every jump shot sounded so broken.
and well, when you hit the side of the backboard, you don't have to worry about how the rim sounds.
That's true.
So, in all fairness, there, he's got to start hitting shots, man. In this one, you're playing South Carolina. Yes, he's going to get some rebounds. Everybody was grabbing rebounds. We outrated them by 20. So to your point, yes, he did give you some value while he was out there. You can also take those 5 rebounds and shove them. Honestly, that's where we're at. Like, you still would have won the rebounding margin by 15.
Well,
The bench, dude. The bench outside of Mo.
He didn't have the 3 turnovers that Jasper gave you as well.
Exactly. And we're talking in circles here.
Like, rock, hard place, Kentucky, right?
Me.
Me.
Right here.
We're in a tough spot, man. I still don't understand. Like, all we heard is Trent Noah's like the best shooter that the world's ever seen. He's gonna.
We heard it about Travis the year before. I mean, I don't believe anything until that's my motto for next year, Jake. I'm not believing any of their Noah system numbers, anything that they say this guy's shooting like this in practice. I'm not believing a thing of it until we get into SEC play, and then I'll start to believe some of it.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I mean, but at the end of the day, man, this team is what it is. There's, you're not going and grabbing a G leaguer to make it better. Low or Cam Williams. Like, I don't expect Cam to come back. Like, even then, I don't know how much that really helps your guard situation. But I mean, I guess you could play him at the 3, but more than that, like Colin role, if by chance he does come back. But yeah, I mean, there's not really a solution unless Walker Horn or one of these guys is ready for a massive jump forward. I think we just kind of are where we are, man.
Wow. I can say I wasn't expecting that thrown out as I know you're fully joking, but the fact that we have to even bring it up is kind of criminal.
Yeah.
How much better would this, and obviously we're talking about this 3 months after the season started, a Caden Lewis, man, if he was here.
Yeah.
How huge would that be right now? Obviously, these are what ifs, but imagine even say Denzel does what he does right now, and that's your guy coming off the bench in replace for Jasper right now.
You know what's crazy though about like a Caden Lewis is all reports are like he didn't come because Lowe had 2 years, and it was going to be Caden Lewis knew Kentucky was going to bring a point guard in through the portal, but he thought they would bring in a senior and pretty much the role would be his next year. And you lose out on
he might be here next year.
You lose out on a Caden Lewis, and you're probably only going to get like a quarter of a season from Jalen Lowe, and a lot of people don't expect him to be back either. So, I mean,
worst of both worlds.
I know, and like that's obviously hindsight 2020. All of us in the moment kind of we didn't expect a Caden Lewis to be this good as a true freshman. So, hindsight is what it is. But
the playmaking has been the biggest thing that has surprised me about a Caden Lewis. 5.3 assists per game.
I watched a lot of that UConn game on Saturday, and like I know they lost, but like he still made moments that kind of left me going, "Wow."
The backcourt of Devin Askew and a Caden Lewis.
Oh my God!
How wild is that?
I knew Askew was there last year, but I completely forgot he was still there. And then when you want to talk about the military meme, the army guy.
Yeah.
Like when I heard the announcer on TNT go, and now checking in is Devin Askew, my ears rang, dude. It sounded like a bomb went off right by my head. I had such horrible flashbacks. And then I'm like, wow,
I'd take him right now on his team.
He looks a lot different. And then I was like, yeah, I mean, he grew up 6 years. He was 18 when he came to Kentucky, and now he's 28. Like, he's been in college basketball for, I'm pretty. What team was he on? The John Wall team, it feels like.
I don't know. I think he might have been a part of like the Rups Runts. I think that was, that legendary team from way back in the day. I think he was a part of them.
John Wall's retiring from the NBA. He's getting his 15th year at Villanova.
That's what it feels like. Do we even need to talk about BG? I think we know we reached game with BG.
Crazy is, like, on paper, it's probably not his worst game, right? He finally
he gave you solid minutes, yeah.
He had 7 boards, but like there were still just moments where it was so bad. I don't understand.
Missed a dunk.
Yeah, like a big man that is so bad at putting the ball in the basket uncontested when he's above the rim. Like,
Jake, have you seen that video of him at Oklahoma State trying to jump over the bench?
I am a little mad because I didn't see it until like a week ago. Like, where's that been for 2 years? At first, I was like I had to think, is this AI? Because surely I would have seen this before now.
I don't know how they kept it under wraps for so long, but now that you best believe that's one of the first things that I put out when BG calls BG time.
Yeah, I mean, he is what he is, man, and I still don't. I know we won and everything. I still don't understand why he's on the floor down the stretch. I don't understand how it's him in over Malachi for Malachi, I think, does obviously everything better that we've talked about. He's a better rebounder, so you want him on the defensive side probably.
Better shot blocker.
He gives you more energy. He's a better shot blocker. And now Malachi's turned it into probably a better free throw shooter. So it's I don't understand in what world in a, close game down the stretch where you're probably going to get fouled and you got to grab rebounds. I don't understand how Malachi's not in that situation, but whatever. Neither here nor there. Big game Saturday. Let's go win it.
I'm right there with you. Let's talk about that game because
payback.
If these guys don't have a little something to wake up to, a little extra on Saturday after the absolute. What's the nicest way to say about that game, Jake? What's the nicest? Kicking. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was going to say tail kicking, maybe, just so sound a little bit more PG. 80-55 is the tail kicking they gave you in Nashville.
Laughed at you. Essentially,
a game in which not a single player played well for the Cats. I mean, Otega ended up getting 20, but he had to take 19 shots to get there. Aberdeen was 6 of 15. We shot 19 of 59.
Yep.
19 of 59 in that game.
Yep.
Yeah. What are you expecting? Because I don't know. I feel like Vandy's definitely cooled off a little bit. I think we have also cooled off a little bit.
I told you, even after Auburn, just win South Carolina, and then we're going to come back and we're getting Vandy back.
You've been telling me this.
I don't know why, but it doesn't make sense to say you're as good of a team, if not even, I think, as good of a team as a team that beat you by 25 on your home floor or on their home floor, but we are, and we're going to get them back. And I think after we beat them, it'll lead to even more conversations of just the weirdness of stuff that happens with Pope. And we're going to be like, how does he not have them ready to go for a game with a team that you're obviously good enough to compete with? And, even back to when we got ran by Ole Miss last year, it's that team last year was a better team than Ole Miss probably in general. And for some reason, you just kind of got ran. I'm hoping people look at it. I'm hoping Vandy holds on and wins tonight and Vegas and everybody looks at it and gives us a nice, juicy Kentucky money line, because I think they're going to – I really do. I think the Cats are going to be hungry for it. I've told you, I know it doesn't make a ton of sense, but like something about the Rupp Arena crowd on a Saturday, like it feels like those are the games we go and, win big home games on, a weekend. So I think Kentucky gets it done.
Vanderbilt is scuffling a little bit as of late. They've lost 3 of their last 5. They're in a tight game with Georgia right now. They're up 7 as we speak with 2 minutes left to play.
You want to talk about a score real quick? How about UConn being up 32 at St. John's?
St. John's was rolling as of late too.
Rolling, and I was
they beat them earlier in the season too, didn't they?
They were making our win over them look better and better, and they are down 68-36 right now.
Yeah, when St. John's can't score, they can't score, and you can only
36 points with 2 minutes to go. Oof. Oof.
Yeah, especially for a team you beat earlier in the season. It's kind of crazy to lose by that big of a margin. But Jake, you're kind of hoping that this is what happens in Rupp on Saturday. I just don't know if I can get there with you. The stretch that this team has been over the last 4 games, obviously we've lost 3 of our last 4. And the win that you had to get was against South Carolina, in which you didn't look good against them.
Roller coaster, man. What else gets us back on top other than coming out and beating Vandy here?
I don't see it. And I'll give you this: when you've been calling things this far in advance, you've been right. You called the Arkansas game for a while out in advance.
You've been called. Some people would say.
Okay, see, this is where I give you all this credit. I'm trying to pump you up and all this, and then you take it too far. You took it too far. But I don't think they're going to win this game. I really hope they do. I don't think Vandy's that much better than them. No. I don't.
We stink, but I still think Vandy kind of stinks.
It's more of like I think you're going to have to get into the 80s to win this game at minimum. Because if you remember, Jake, Vandy did not shoot well against us either in that game and still beat us by 25.
Yeah.
They were 25 of 62 and 10 of 26 from 3. They didn't shoot the ball crazy well to beat us by 25.
And they were without their second leading scorer.
Yeah.
So
that's.
I get it. It sounds
there's too many.
It sounds ridiculous. We lost by 25. Sounds ridiculous to say it, but
the thing is, the ridiculous things to say with this team are the things that come true.
Exactly.
So in that aspect, I'm kind of with you there. I think they got to score minimum 80 points to win this game. And with what you just saw against South Carolina and what we've been putting on the floor recently, outside of Colin and Denzel getting hot from 3 and just maybe and this is going to be the more far-fetched one, Jasper coming in for a quick couple minutes and, lighten it up for a second. I just don't see him beating Vandy.
I will be interested to kind of see, obviously now for 2 years, going back to Ole Miss last year, Georgia last year, Georgia this year, the Vandy, whooping. There's never been one of these where Pope has gotten that team back on the schedule, right? Whether through the SEC tournament or something. We only played Ole Miss once last year. We only played Georgia the one time. It will be interesting to see how does he kind of use
Bama.
Yeah, but Bama objectively was just better. I don't think
some people might say this about this Vanderbilt team.
Yeah, I don't Vandy might be better and good enough to beat you, but to beat you the way they did was objectively, I think, just a clunker from Kentucky. There's no other way to put it. Could Vandy be better and you lose that game by 5 or 7? Sure, but I think it was more so Kentucky's lack of effort and some of the other issues that we've talked about. So it'll be kind of interesting, I think, to see how does he in the same season rally these guys to hey, remember what they did to you. Remember how embarrassing we played and looked. Let's get them one back. And, I'm interested to kind of see that from Pope as much as the players.
If you can't get these guys up for this game, I mean, you're probably just not getting them up for another game for the rest of the season. Jake, I'm going to give you my score prediction here, and I do think it's going to be a close game. I'm talking about it like it's not going to be close and we don't have a chance. I think this is going to come down to the final 4 minutes, and unfortunately, I just kind of look at it as I trust their scorers like Tyler Tanner to score more than I trust Otega to not bounce a ball off his leg out of bounds in a key moment like he's done each of the past 3 games. And one thing about Otega, he can go out and win you a game. He can also go out and lose you one as well. I think Vandy scores 85. The Cats get 79. I think they lose by 6, but I do think it's close, and a couple balls bounce your way, get a couple loose balls, make some extra free throws. I think the Cats can win this game, but if I had to put my money somewhere, I'm going to put it on the Commodores.
Yep. I think it's going to be what we've seen. Like, we're going to see Colin Chandler make a couple shots down the stretch, make a big play at some point. We'll see Denzel hit a big 3 at somewhere along the way, and I expect a pretty big bounce back from Otega, and another 20-plus point game. I think on a somewhat efficient night. Like, Otega's never going to be the most efficient player, but one of those games where we're saying he went 9 of 16 or something like that.
Sign me up. If he's going 9 of 16 on Saturday, sign me up now.
So I think we'll get a good game from Otega, and I think we win. I'm gonna go Cats. I'll say not super high scoring. I'll say we get into the 80s though. 83, 80, and Tyler Tanner misses a 3 at the buzzer to force overtime. Cats win.
So we got it right around the same spot there. Obviously, we just have the team who scores a little bit higher in the 80s.
I got to be completely honest. I was looking at something when you gave your score, completely zoned out. I don't know what you said.
This is classic Cats Talk podcast and Jacob Boyers. I'm sitting here talking, putting my heart and soul.
I've listened to you all episode, but right as like I was trying to see if there was any stats to back me up on. I feel like Vandy's not as good away from home, and they do have a lot of losses on the road, but I was kind of looking at that when you were giving your score prediction. So what was your score?
My score is actually very similar to what it looks like Vandy's going to win by against Georgia right now. Right now they're up 86-79, and if Cats Talk podcast listeners want to circle back 3 minutes, I said this then. I think the Cats lose 85-79, 6-point game. Just a couple of balls bounced the wrong way. But
St. John scored exactly 40, by the way.
That's ridiculous. A point per minute.
It's official.
All right, Jake. Well, we've documented what we think has to happen for this Cats team to win on Saturday. Obviously, we are hoping for the best. Jake predicted a win. We can't go with a clean sweep of both of us picking wins. It never works well for us.
That's true.
We did it against South Carolina, and somehow we actually got out of there. But I know you didn't feel that great about that game going in there. You had a little bit of uneasy feeling in there too. So
yeah, I had a dream that Monday night I had a dream that we lost, and it wasn't even that we lost. I had a dream that for some reason we both messed up what night the game was, and it was actually Monday. And after the pod, we both went to bed, and then I woke up like in the middle of the night, and I was like, shit, we actually played today. And then I checked my phone and we had lost. and I texted you and I was like, I don't feel great about this game, but hey, a win's a win.
Well, this team has been bringing nightmares as of late, Jake, and I think that's...
roller coaster, baby. We're on the way up.
Just a part of the roller coaster, and let's hope we are on the way back up. But while we're on the way back up, make sure you keep in touch with the Cats Talk podcast. Follow us on YouTube, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, we're there. Written very close to 500 subscribers, so please like the YouTube. Jake, Cats need a win. Need it desperately.
Desperately.
Let's get some payback for what Vandy did to us. Go Big Blue.
Go Big Blue.